Welcome to Football Scientific. I'm Aaron Sard, a professor of football, and we are here today to talk about some news in the NFL, the CFL, the IFL, and the UFL. I am joined by my guest host, Tyler the Tiger. Tyler the Tiger, you're ready to go? Ready to go through this NFL news and CFL news and UFL news and IFL news? We have an action-packed show. Seriously, this is crazy. I want to remind you, I'm a writer for FootballAnalysis1.com and CFLNewsHub.com and UFLNewsHub.com. On UFL News Hub, I just sent in an article about Daryl Moose Johnston not being renewed by the UFL and his past history with spring football. And then also today I made a power rankings of all 32 NFL teams heading into week 11. Check it out on footballanalysis1.com. It should be a great time reading those articles, okay? Tyler, what do you think about that? I think that's a great call. We should definitely have them read the articles and click and like them so we get paid more. That's right. Do we get paid more? Yeah, get to afford some cat food. Yes, you get some cat food. That's right. All right, so here we go. First in the NFL, Travis Hunter of the Jacksonville Jaguars. He decided that he's had enough this season. Instead of playing both ways, he decided to not play anyway and have his LCL repaired surgically, and he's out for the next 6 months. So I guess that settles that. Is he able to play both ways? No, he's not. He played for half the season, and now he's out. Next, boom, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Running back Josh Williams has been suspended again for 6 games for using PEDs. They are already short a bunch of running backs at Tampa Bay, and now their current starting running back is gone because of PED use. Maybe that's why he wasn't injured. Next, the Pittsburgh Steelers signed free agent cornerback Asante Samuel Jr. yesterday to their practice squad, trying to get some depth at DB after trading away Minkah Fitzpatrick for a tight end, Jonnu Smith, who hasn't made any impact on their season so far. Maybe they shouldn't have traded Minkah Fitzpatrick. I'm glad they did, though. Boo Steelers. Next, Green Bay Packers placed center offensive guard Elgton Jenkins on the IR due to an injured leg that he sustained in their Monday Night Football game with the Philadelphia Eagles. Boom, Dallas Cowboys activated linebacker DeMarvin over something or other, and DB Siobhan Ravel off the PUP list and off the NFI non-football injury list, okay? Buffalo Bills, they have signed wide receiver Mecole Hardman to their Mecole Hardman to their practice squad. They released wide receiver Christian Wilkerson and defensive end something or other, Kinsley Jonathan. They also placed defensive end Landon Jackson on the IR list. What's all this equal? No changes for the Buffalo Bills. They don't care they lost to the Dolphins. They just want to keep getting defeated. Now they're going to get beat by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Sad face for Buffalo Bills fans. Hopefully it doesn't actually happen. Hopefully they can beat Tampa Bay. New York Giants, they signed tight end Zach Davidson and another kicker, Ben Salwells or whatever from the practice squad. They now have 4 kickers. So Graham Gano out. He's on the injured list. He hurt his neck. He's officially on the injured list today. But they have Young Hoku who kicked this week against the Packers. And then they have this new guy. And then they got Jude McAntony or whatever, who's been on the practice squad for a while. They're very rich in crappy kickers. Look at the Giants. They don't have a head coach, but they have lots of crappy kickers. Nice. New York Giants also named Jameis Winston as their starting quarterback this week. Jackson Dart's out with a concussion. Russell Wilson's out with playing crappy football. So Jameis Winston is now up, hoping to put on a good show. He may not play well, but at least he'll be funny while he does it, you know. He'll talk about how great it is to play for the Packers, and he plays for the Giants. Who cares? He won't know the difference either. That's the thing about Jameis Winston. He doesn't care. Next, Philadelphia Eagles placed quarterback Jair Alexander on the reserve retire list after all that crap with the Packers and the Ravens and now the Eagles. Jair Alexander's not even going to play this year. He's retired, bro. He's done. So next, quarterback Jakari something is out. He's out for them too. Eagles are looking bad at cornerback, okay? Boom. Arizona Cardinals Marvin, they got a couple bad hits today. Marvin Harrison Jr., he had an appendectomy today. He's out for at least a week. He had to get his appendix removed suddenly, okay? And also they lost receiver Zay Jones to an Achilles tear. Who's left for receivers for the Arizona Cardinals? No one knows. Just Trey McBride. He's going to keep throwing to Trey McBride and handing it off to Amari DiMarcado and hoping they can win some games. And they might still do it because they've been winning a couple games here and there with those guys. Okay, next, Cleveland Browns. They have signed wide receiver Caden Davis to the practice squad, and yada, yada, yada. No one cares. Okay, boom. Next, Cincinnati Bengals. They have listed Trey Hendrickson, defensive end Trey Hendrickson, wanting to get paid a bunch of money to Trey Hendrickson on the injured list again. He's doubtful he will not play this week for the Bengals. So, I mean, I'm glad they didn't pay him. You know, the fear of the Bengals ownership was they were going to pay him a lot of money, and he was going to be injured the whole time. So now they didn't pay him a lot of money. He's still injured the whole time. Come on, Trey Hendrickson. Quit being injured the whole time. Next, Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson is limping around again. He came back for 3 weeks to look pretty good, and now he's limping around again, not practicing. Come on, Lamar Jackson. We need you. My fantasy team needs you to play. Take that into account, Lamar Jackson. Come on, man. Next, New York Giants. Wide receiver Darius Slayton. He has a hamstring injury. He didn't practice today. Boom. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Wide receiver Chris Godwin and Bucky Irving are limited at practice. They are practicing, so maybe that's going to open the door for those guys to return. You know, they need them to return, honestly, because they're running out of running backs. Then you got another one put on the PED suspension list for 6 weeks. Okay, New England Patriots, they have moved Ramondre Stevenson and Keyshawn Boutte to the injured list for this week. They're not going to play against the Jets. But they probably won't need them anyway, though. Travion Henderson will probably take all the reps there. San Francisco 49ers, Brock Purdy is back at practice, having an aggressive, limited practice, meaning he's throwing more than he normally would. Okay, that's good news for the 49ers. Maybe it isn't because Mac Jones has more wins than Brock Purdy this year. So maybe they need Brock Purdy to keep being hurt. Maybe that's the goal. It's going to keep him hurt so Mac Jones can win some more games and get the playoffs. Boom. And like I said, New York Giants officially moved Graham Gano to the IR list. Boom. Next. In the UFL, the big news today was Daryl Moose Johnston not having his contract renewed. I wrote an article about that for UFLnewshub.com. About his connections to spring football and stuff. And it's probably better for Moose Johnston to move on anyway, man. Sometimes you need a change of venue, you know. In the CFL, the BC Lions have signed American defensive back Bruce Harmon Jr. They have signed American offensive line Brandon Yates and American offensive lineman Tyran Walker Hunt to future active roster contracts. Houston, no, not Houston. Let's see, who would that be? I can't read it. Well, Hamilton Tiger Cats. They signed to their feature active list American wide receiver Myron Mitchell and American defensive back Zamari Walton. I believe they're both on the practice squad. They both got released and are both added back for future rosters. So I don't know if that really makes an impact. I didn't write an article about it because I was like, what impact does that make? It doesn't make one. Who's going to want to read that? Saskatchewan Rough Riders signed American defensive back Seyi Oladipo Jr. to a future active roster spot. Winnipeg Blue Bombers signed American wide receiver Bryce Kurtz to a future active roster spot. BC Lions signed American linebacker Jeremy Lewis to a future active roster spot. I don't remember this many future active roster spots being announced in the past. Boom. The Calgary Stampeders signed American defensive line Elijah Hills to a future roster spot. And the IFL, the Arizona Rattlers have re-signed veteran defensive back Isaiah Huff and the New Mexico Chupacabras, formerly the something City Guardians or something. I don't know. It's hard to say. The New Mexico Chupacabras, who like mustard and ketchup put together, they signed quarterback Jerome Johnson from the Vegas Nighthawks. He was the IFL MVP in 2024. He technically won an IFL National Championship with Vegas last year, but I think Jaden DeLora took most of the reps in the national championship game. And then they signed defensive lineman Maurice Jackson, also from the Vegas Nighthawks. So some of the Vegas Nighthawks players that didn't keep a starting role didn't keep a starring position with the Vegas Ajax and their run to the national championship, have now moved on to New Mexico, Chupacabras. Okay, and then the NAL has signed a licensing agreement with Snap's clothing company to deal with their apparel and like their business wear and stuff for their coaches and upper management. They got some pearly shirts. They got some pearly button shirts that are kind of stretchy. So that's kind of some old school fancy wear for the NAL, and it's going to have NAL logos all over it. So that was interesting. That's where we're at with football today. Remember, check out my articles on footballanalysis1.com, CFLnewshub.com as we prepare for the Grey Cup Championship this weekend, and then UFLnewshub.com where I wrote about Daryl Moose Johnston and his removal from the UFL. Thanks for joining us today for our episode of Football Scientific. I am Aaron Stoddard, the football professor, and it is time to close this Football Scientific portal for today. Bye-bye.